Nothing in this life is more persistent than change. Just as the world passes through seasons, or how we grow from infant to child to adult until we take our last breath. The always shifting phases of the moon from night to night, or the transformations we take as we live day to day. The more we change, the more accustomed we become to it, the more we expect it. And just like everything in this world, I changed too. I experienced my own phases, as drastic as the moon, my shifts as consistent as the seasons, and my transformations as painful as the cycles of life. Listen closely. I'm going to tell you the story of how I came to be. But be warned, however, it is not an easy tale. There is darkness, there is pain, there are secrets that are far older than you can imagine. But my story should be heard. It needs to be. A long time ago, under the bright light of the full wolf moon, a determined researcher left her home in the dead of night in search of a dangerous beast. Adorned with her hunting materials and accompanied by her trusty companion, she had no fear. She braved the dark, the two of them eager to study what no one else dared to find before. But as they continued on, the trees grew thicker, the air heavier, and nerves licked at the back of the researcher's neck. Feeling her unease, her loyal pup nudged her hand with its nose, its own way of encouragement that made the girl's uncertainty melt away. She nodded and the two pushed forward. As they traveled through the woods, the researcher came across a thicket. She peered inside and knew in her gut that the beast she searched for resided within. She clutched her silver knife close to her chest and stepped inside. A small whimper echoed in the entryway as the girl looked back to see her pup nervously pacing in front of the tall grass. "You stay here, girl. I don't know what I would do if you got hurt. I'll be back as soon as I can." And the girl disappeared into the dark. With soft and careful footsteps, the researcher made her way deeper into the thicket, alert to any possible danger. Or so she thought. She stopped dead in her tracks and felt the paralyzing sensation of fear electrify her spine once more. Her gaze caught the side of the moon as the clouds began to part, and behind her, she felt a presence that she swore was not there moments ago. She turned quickly on her heel and swung her silver knife through the air and felt it graze the beast as it let out a bellowing howl. With the monster distracted, the girl took the chance to run as fast as she could, trying her best to ignore the sound of the footsteps growing closer and closer behind her. But before she reached the entrance of the thicket, the beast lunged and she felt her body hit the cold, hard ground, and an eruption of pain made its way up her leg, and then everything went black. Pain. It was all she could feel, almost as though something had crawled its way into her skin, just to erupt in a burning rage. Her heart beat faster than humanly possible, and she felt so lost and afraid. The pain seemed as though it lasted an eternity. What happened? Why did she feel like she wasn't in control of her own body? And why did it all hurt so much? And then, her mind went numb. In a gasp of air, the researcher's eyes shot open to welcome the rise of the morning sun, the freezing air greeting her lungs. She lifted herself from the ground into a seated position, hands grasping at her body, clothes torn to shreds, and her hair wild and dirty. She couldn't help but let out a scream, eyes brimmed with tears before she heard a soft, familiar whimper. A sudden wave of reassurance and calm fell over her, as it always did when her best friend was at her side. She looked around for her pup, brow furrowing in confusion, unable to find her companion. Then, the girl's eyes slowly panned down to her hands that were covered in blood, and her vision darkened, that sense of calm immediately fading. From the corner of her eye, the researcher focused on what could only be her loyal dog. the one she brought home when she was only a puppy, lying on the ground, rasping for air as blood pooled around its body. The girl reached out a shaky hand, laying it gently upon the animal. "What have I done?" she choked out. "You stayed by me this whole time. I did this to you, didn't I?" The dog's eye found the girl and she began to sob, heartbreaking over the realization of what she had done. "I'm so sorry," she said through trembling breaths. "You can rest now." Her voice barely choked out, but it was enough for the dog to let out a final whimper, almost as if in forgiveness, before she stopped moving, eyes closing to never open again. A cool wind brushed through the grass, and just like magic, what remained of the girl's old friend disappeared into remnants of the night sky. As the sun rose, the girl collapsed to the ground, tucked her legs in close to her chest, and sobbed her way into exhaustion. She could no longer call herself a researcher. She didn't even deserve to call herself human. She had become the very monster she sought out to find. Days quickly became weeks, and the weeks soon faded into months. Before long, she lost all sense of how much time had passed, eager to forget the details of that fateful night. The only mark of time passing was the horrific transformation she had to endure. Once a month, when the moon above was at its fullest, the painful transformation took hold. That pain became a constant reminder of her loving companion, the one who had brought her together with so many others, encouraged her to be brave, the one that was now gone. That precious bond, severed because of her own carelessness. Darkness encroached her mind, and as the months gave way to years, she felt herself slipping away from all that she once knew. Every now and then, she would catch a reflection of herself in a pond or a small pool of water, noticing that what looked back appeared a face she no longer recognized and grew to hate. She withdrew deeper and deeper into the woods, making her new home in isolation, afraid that each time she changed under the moon, she would hurt someone else. So she hid away for a long, long time. Years soon passed, but it didn't matter to her. The girl she knew was no more. It was possible that she spent even more time as this monster than as a human. Her appearance contorted into a more feral, more animalistic version of her likeness. She learned to live amongst the woods and its inhabitants, and sometimes, when the moon was full and she couldn't control herself, she would hunt. Every now and then, she returned to that thicket, the last place where she saw her friend. She found the exact patch of grass where she watched her pup disappear, and laid there, closing her eyes as if trying to feel her presence, but it was long gone. The monster who turned her disappeared long ago. She didn't know what had happened to it. Maybe she found it and extracted her revenge, or maybe it moved on. She didn't care. One day, after sleeping on that patch of grass, the girl opened her eyes to see a small wolf pup, wounded and afraid, howling out in the clearing for its mother. She lifted her head and felt a tug in her heart, something she had not felt in a long time, that told her to help the poor creature. She stepped slowly, carefully towards the animal. "You must be so afraid out here all on your own," her voice rasped out. She realized she hadn't spoken in many years. She cleared her throat and held her hand out to the animal. At first, the puppy stepped back, baring its small teeth. The girl lowered herself to a kneeling position and spoke once more in a soft voice. "It's okay. I'm lost too. I want to help you." The puppy's posture relaxed and it sniffed the air cautiously, drawing closer to the girl. She held out her hand once more, slowly this time, to allow the animal to sniff her, and once it did, it looked up to her face as though accepting her help. So the two set off into the woods in search of the puppy's mother. After wandering for hours, the pup suddenly cried out and darted off into the woods. The girl furrowed her brow and followed it as she saw the puppy excitedly run to a wolf that must have been its mother. Her hand began to move on its own, up to her face as she wiped away a single, foreign tear. The reunion reminded her of her old friend, and if that young creature wasn't afraid of her, maybe others wouldn't be so afraid of her either. The girl decided to change once more, wanting to devote her time to helping creatures in the woods, woodland critters, cryptids, mythological beings. No matter what, maybe this was what she was meant to do. Over time, she learned to forgive herself, slowly understanding that what happened was out of her control, but helping those around her and bringing them comfort and peace, just like her old friend used to do for her, was something she could control. Every full moon following, she learned to control herself and her transformation more and more, no longer fearing the monster she would become, but learning to accept the new side of her and how to live with it. She continued to help those in need, year after year, and then one night, the moon seemed to shine brighter than any other moon she remembered. The girl found her way into a clearing and stared up at the bright light in the sky. And as she did, a voice echoed in her mind. I have heard a tale from those who have lived and passed on of a being in these woods, one that appears as a monster, but contains a heart of gold within. You were nothing more than a fearful, lost girl who has now grown into something much more. To show my gratitude and the gratitude of all those you helped, I grant you my favor. I bestow upon you the ability to control your transformation, to relieve you from that pain, but in return, I ask that you continue acting as that light for those lost in the dark. Know this, however, you will no longer be of this world. My power cannot work in the mortal realm, but you will be free of your curse. Do you accept my favor? The girl stood in silence for a moment, her old life just a blurred memory in her mind. Would leaving it behind really be so bad? I have made a new life for myself, devoting it to helping those who are lost. And if what you say is true, I graciously accept your favor. Then allow me to present you with one more gift. A soul you helped move on long ago has been waiting for you all this time. Before the girl had time to question, the moon emitted a bright light, and from the light, a familiar figure emerged. The girl dropped to her knees, and tears fell from her eyes as her old friend came bounding toward her. She held out her arms, and as the two embraced, they were enveloped by the moon's warmth. The dirt and grime washed away from the girl's body. Her once dull hair erupted in bright colors. Her poorly constructed clothing faded into a beautiful gown, and she felt her soul flood with emotion. The moon bestowed a blessing on the girl, and over time, she turned into a goddess of the moon who devoted her life to being the light for others when they were lost in the dark. With the help of her friend, the two worked together to bring warmth to those who needed it most. Through the years, the girl began to feel lonely once more in her isolation, and on her journeys, she discovered the joy of streaming, a way to connect once more with what she left behind, and another way to bring smiles and laughter to the lives of those who watched, a place to call her own. As we know now, change always comes. Even the moon itself has its limits. One night, a shadow cast itself on the moon, slowly growing, creeping into the girl's new home. The usual smiles of her recent life slowly faded from her face as confusion took its place. She looked through the window to see the source of the change. The sun began to move into place, causing the light of the moon to be obstructed. The safety and comfort of her home faded as the room began to shake. She ran outside as her eyes filled with the growing sight of the eclipse. The rumbling only grew as she ran, eventually causing her to stumble and fall. As she fell, there was a shift, almost as if a string in her soul snapped. That separation deep inside impossible to ignore. A connection was severed. The very light and power she had received from the moon was gone in an instant, and then she fell, deeper and deeper, the bright light of her presence falling through the dark like a meteor in the sky. Her body met the ground, and once again, everything went dark.